What is up, you beautiful people? This is Gary Horne, and this is the NWA. It's the show celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, and tradition of the greatest pro wrestling entity of all time. Of course, we're talking about the National Wrestling Alliance, and I am not alone. As always, I am joined by the guy in purple, Wil. Hey, Wil.
I'm not in purple. I'm around purple.
Well, there's another
That's
guy
different.
in purple.
I'm in black, like always.
Talk Rob Stinson is in purple and has a doctorate, so there's that too.
Dr. Purple.
True, and we are on day 8 of the reign of the real world's champions Atlanta Braves. I see you, Roy DeCaps. Thank you for joining in tonight. It's going to be a great show.
Man, it's a great show indeed. The Atlanta Braves are the world champions, and Nick Aldis came out with a big victory tonight. It's just like you like it, Doc.
Yeah.
All
Can't
right.
win all.
Yeah. Well, all right. So plenty to talk about. This was part 2 of By Any Means Necessary. We're going to jump into that and get you in the loop here in just a second. But if you missed part 1, well, we did receive this video from, if you haven't been catching up with him on social media, Jamie Stanley's very adamant about recapping the shows. And we've been informed by the office they'd like those to be given to you guys as well. So, here's Jamie Stanley with an NWA Powerrr By Any Means Necessary Part 1 review.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you. And welcome to a very special edition of NWA Powerrr Weekly Review. I am your host, that dude, Jamie Stanley. And again? Guys, stop. Okay. I know, but no, I love you. Come on, no, you're the man. Okay, guys, stop, shut up. Now, I hate to start the show off on such a sour note, but my first segment is that dude's disappointment. And who am I disappointed in? Jax Dane. Because first of all, he's being interviewed by that nerd, Kyle Davis. But second of all, he's wearing shades indoors. Now, ever since that dude started wearing shades indoors, it seems like every other star wants to copy me and do just that. Jax, let me give you a word to the wise. Stick to what you're good at doing, which is posting the same exact photo on Instagram every single day. But on a lighter note, in this week's Stylin' Like Stanley Spotlight, how's that for alliteration? The award goes to Mr. Pope, who's wearing his shiniest, sparkliest, styliest, most Stanley approved attire. And with his win over Colby Carino, Pope is indeed doomed. Next we have Stanley's surprise of the week when Matt Taven and Mike Bennett make their surprise NWA debut and get a win over the Fixers. The Fixers? Really? That's oh, you're here to fix us, Fixers? If you want to really fix something, why don't you do us all a favor and fix Rush Freeman's mullet? In our next match, we have 1980s colorfully flamboyant streamer boy versus big, ugly, angry Metallica monster guy who gets a pretty easy win. But that is not what's important here, ladies and gentlemen. What is important is that we take some time to fully admire Sinister Minister's eyebrows. Over in our women's division, tag team champions The Hex get a win over Fruity, Tootie Lynn, and Thunder Kitty. Rawr, with their signature move, the Hexclamation. Hex marks the spot. Get it? It's a play on words because their name is Hex. Why don't you do us all a favor and get the Hex off of my TV screen? Next. And in our main event of the evening between Mims and Scion, unfortunately this match gets Stanley's stinker. Not because it was a bad match, but because Mims' new gear covers up his entire body, and Scion's mask covers his face. Both of which Jamie Stanley would never do, because obviously I have leading man good looks, and my abs are like sculpted like a Greek god, so I don't know what that feels like. Whatever. 6 Jamies, as in 6-pack abs. See what I did there? That concludes this week's NWA Powerrr Review, which is only part 1 of By Any Means Necessary. Now, tune into part 2 next week, where I'm sure more wrestlers will try their darndest to get over while the fans just sit on their hands and daydream about the return of the most handsome, talented, charismatic, and humble man in all the game, that dude, Jamie Stanley. But never fear, sports fans. I'll be back soon, very soon. So be ready. Love you.
All right. Well, there is Jamie Stanley. So if you missed part 1 of By Any Means Necessary, there it was. And that's everything you need to know. Kind of a biased review, I guess. But little heads up, Doc. Seems you've stolen the Jamie Stanley style there with your sunglasses indoors.
Is this the segment of the show where we critique this adorable little project? That's cute. I remember the first time that I opened up iMovie. That's adorable.
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
was
President
last
Corgan is not gonna like the sound on this one. He is not gonna like that.
Doc, calm down.
Struck a nerve with the sunglasses.
He did. He got Doc fired up. And anyway, this is a loving show. This is about happy to look. Captain Kirk and Brett the Hitman Hart are in a warm embrace behind me. It's just
It does look warm.
This is nice. Also got a note from our producers. We didn't have any Powerrr logos or anything, so it changed the background. Look at that. So you get to see live updates right here.
Bush.
We're sponsored by Car Shield and Bush. I have my ice cold Bush right here. All right. Well, let's talk about tonight. If you guys weren't able to watch By Any Means Necessary Part 2, don't worry, baby birds. We're going to feed you. We're going to get you in the loop right now. Hey, it's us. This is Pro Wrestling. We keep you in the loop. So this one started off with a nice opening with Crimson and his son talking about just the violence Crimson is going to bring to Jax Dane. We saw Jax Dane last week, obviously, talking about what he's going to do to Crimson. Both men seem very set on destroying each other, and Crimson's son's there, but Crimson wants his son to see that there are no, that he doesn't suffer bullies, and he won't be a pushover. Any thoughts on that opening with Crimson, guys?
Oh, it just got me excited. I mean, last week hearing from Jax Dane and then hearing from Crimson this week is a great way to kick off the show. I mean, we're gonna get there, so I'm not gonna talk about it all right now. But man, when you talk about a main event, that is what we got tonight. And man, it was personal. It was heated. It was everything we thought it would be, and Crimson was ready for it. And the fact that he, as a dad, I can understand where he's coming from. He wasn't trying to shield his son from the realities of life and friendships falling apart and how to, settle scores and things like that. But yeah, it's a tough one for his son, I'm sure.
I like how you said shield his son because one of our sponsors is Car Shield.
That's right. And Bush.
That's right. I think we can all agree that one of the most fascinating human interest stories that have emanated from the NWA over the last several months has been this dissension that's grown between Jax Dane and Crimson, two brothers, wingmen. They've been a fixture of the NWA for a long, long time. They've been one of the most highly touted, highly anticipated tag teams, highly decorated. And to see what's happened between the two of them has really fascinated a lot of people. And I think this show, By Any Means Necessary, being built around this climactic conflict and showdown that we're going to see tonight in a steel cage is huge. But seeing Crimson out there with his son, talking about family and him having his literal blood right there beside him, I think was a very interesting point. It resonated with me. It resonated with Wil. Wil and I were talking about this beforehand. And again, this is serious, man. This is you lay all things aside. At the end of the day, blood is thicker than water. And as it turns out, what existed between Crimson and Jax Dane was not blood at all, but was water.
Oh, hello. Yeah. So anyway,
Speaking of,
Car Shield sons go farther. The bold-headed move of the night might go to Jaden Roller here because coming up next, Tim Storm's in the ring talking about he's going to have a matchup with Jaden Roller. Jaden has been anticipating an opportunity to like make himself more serious. If you've seen him before in the NWA, he's had the pigtails, he's twirling his hair around, and he's getting sick of that. So he wants to be taken seriously. So he comes in and he decides that the best way to do that is to attack Tim's. Is to attack Tim Storm from behind, and that's what Jaden Roller does. And so that's why I say maybe the bonehead move of the night, because I don't know. You got an opportunity just by being in a match with Tim Storm. I don't know why you feel like you have to attack him from behind and then ask for a no DQ match, which if you were watching the NWA's YouTube this past week, they re-aired the first match from NWA 73, which was a triple threat no DQ match that included Tim Storm, Tom Latimer, and Crimson. And Tim Storm came out on top there. So I don't know why formerly the Heartthrob, Jaden, decided to test his mettle against Tim Storm in a no DQ match. Tim Storm's clearly not the guy to mess with. Anyway, DDT on a chair ends Jaden in this one, and Tim Storm with another victory. He's racking them up here lately, it feels like. Tim Storm's on a roll, but just curious what your thoughts are. Doc, I'll throw to you first.
I like Jaden Roller. He's an ambitious kid, and I think if you're going to be ambitious, you need to start by they say when you're the new man in school and you want to get some credibility, you go to the toughest man and you make your point against him, and that's exactly what Jaden Roller did. I don't blame him for going and making the little sneak attack on the back. It's not like that was going to cement the match, because he stopped and issued the no disqualification challenge afterwards. He made his point. I don't think he anticipated or even expected to like neutralize him at that point. Jaden's here to make a point. That's what he was doing. And, if you're someone who's coming literally, we've seen him once or twice before this. If you're the new guy on the block and you want to make a point, I can't argue with his tactics here. Now, I got to take a little bit of issue with Tim Storm. Tim Storm being an elder statesman, a diplomat, a father. Seeing this going on and acquiescing to this match, I was a little troubled to see how this match ended. I think Austin Idol pointed out that those were some underhanded techniques, even though it was no DQ. I think you got a young kid who's got a lot of ambition, a lot of drive, but this is something that could potentially have hurt this kid, ended his career before it even started. So I'm a little unsettled about that, I have to admit.
I mean, a no DQ match that goes both ways, right? I mean, would you have taken issue, with Jaden using the chair on a guy in his 50s, potentially ending his career, or is it just the one way?
Well, it's not just an average guy in his 50s. Come on now. It's not like it's Mr.
Yeah, for sure,
Borders. This is Tim Storm, who's a Greek god, and a little chair shot on the back ain't gonna hurt Tim Storm. You know what I'm saying? So at least not permanently.
I'll let you tell him that. But I think you get what you ask for. Jaden came in and tried to make a statement right up front with the sneak attack. And, Tim Storm is, you're right. He's a statesman. He's an elder in the NWA, and he's somebody that people look to, and he loves giving guys opportunities. He loves to be in the ring even after all these years, and he can still go, as we've seen over and over again. But, he's given this guy an opportunity, and I respect that. And Jaden comes in, and I don't think the sneak attack, Gary, was his biggest mistake of the night. I think the biggest mistake was asking for a no DQ match, because this is not Tim Storm's first rodeo. It's not his first no DQ match. He knows how to win. And, the stakes are different in a no DQ match. You don't approach it the same way you do in a regular, all rules apply wrestling match. And so Tim did what he had to do to win the match. I mean, that's how you compete in a no DQ match.
Well, I think my point was going to really be that it's one thing to be in a no DQ match, but then to also make Tim Storm angry before you do that, that's asking for even more trouble. Now, before we continue on with that, I did have a chance, guys, to talk to Jaden after the matchup here, and here's what he had to say. Standing in the back with Jaden Roller, and Jaden, big match with Tim Storm tonight at By Any Means Necessary, and unfortunately, things just did not go your way.
Unfortunately is the word, that's correct. You see, I took a long look at myself in the mirror and realized I need to change the man that I am. I need to be more focused. All right, I'm done doing the stupid crap. All right, I'm done wearing my pigtails. I come out here to do business. All right? And I came out here tonight to do business, but Mr. Tim Storm had to cheat. He had to cheat to win.
Well, you asked for a no DQ match, Jaden.
Yeah, but you saw him use the chair at the end. He clearly cheated. There's no way he can beat me.
There were no rules, Jaden. I mean, it's kind of the way it goes in those matches.
So what are you trying to say? That I lost fair and square? You're saying what you saw out there was a clean match?
Well, not exactly, but just that's part of the rules.
The fact of the matter is Tim Storm is a cheater. Tim Storm is a cheater.
So, Jaden feeling like Tim Storm is a cheater, obviously. Doc, I know you're ready to pounce on that. What did you have on your mind?
No, he's right. And I think the point he's trying to make is that, yeah, did Tim Storm get the win? He did. But what did it take to get the win? It took him using a steel chair. That's something that Tim Storm should not have to use. We're talking about a former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, a man who has taken the national treasure Nick Aldis to the limit, a man who took Josephus to the limit and then some. And you've got a guy who's coming in, he's learning. Yeah, he came out there green, asking for a no DQ match, and we got to back up to that. Tim Storm, what Jaden did, he did us a service because he's exposed the darker elements of Tim Storm. This is nothing new to us. We've seen this before. We saw the empty arena match against Josephus, which was extremely brutal. This isn't some guy who's like some noble hero and all that you guys want to make him out to be. He's got a dark side. Jaden exposed that. And I think all he's trying to point out, guys, is like, look, did he get the win? Yeah, but it took a steel chair to do it.
Well, maybe in the future they'll have a straightforward one-on-one match and we can see what would happen if the two of them participate in that. Moving on, though, the next matchup would be Kamille against Kenzie Paige. 2 out of 3 falls for the women's championship. Kenzie, they pointed out, was trained by Ricky Morton, which is cool. I just know she's been all over the place and traveled. She's been wrestling since she was like 14 years old. And so it's not the first time she's faced Kamille, but she's had an opportunity to get even better since then and have experience in the ring with Kamille. So I was really looking forward to seeing these two go face to face. Kenzie was having a lot of trouble with Kamille up front. And honestly, who could blame her? Kamille is the brick house for a reason and has been proven to be pretty unstoppable thus far. No different here. Kenzie showing a lot of resilience, withstanding an onslaught from Kamille early on and really coming back. And Kamille, just unfortunately, every attempt by Kenzie just seemed to get snuffed out immediately by Kamille. Kamille does end up getting the first fall here, and you get a 1-minute break there. And right after that 1-minute break, tries to go ahead and finish the second fall and goes for a spear, but Kenzie moves out of the way and Kamille runs right smack into the post. And that started a little bit of hope for Kenzie, beating her up on the outside, even hoping possibly to get the count-out victory for one of those falls. She was, coming up from the bottom here, trying to get 2 more wins in a row, which getting 1 win against Kamille is a big enough deal. But, fellas, this might be the closest I've ever seen to someone just beating Kamille one-on-one, and just multiple pinfalls here, near count out, and then but the brick house just won't die is what I'm trying to say. I mean, no matter what Kenzie Paige does, roll up, slides, whatever, can't get Kamille's shoulders pinned to the mat. 1, 2, 3. Finally, wrong move, spear. Kamille gets the victory here against Kenzie Paige. 2 falls in a row. It's over. Fellas, just want to get your thoughts. Will, I'll throw to you first.
This was you're exactly right. I mean, this was I feel like I won't say the most we've ever seen Kamille stretched to her limit. I think her match with Layla Hirsch at Powerrr was incredible, and those two ladies left it all on the mat. But it was definitely a time to see her come out and not be totally dominant. Now I will say she was dominant. She won 2 falls, retained the title, which is kind of what I expected. No disrespect to Kenzie, but Kamille's just that caliber of a champion. But what I was really impressed with is after that first fall, after Kenzie lost the first fall, she didn't throw in the towel. She didn't give up. There's a tendency when you don't get that first fall in a 2 out of 3s match to just give up, throw in the towel, kind of let it be because you're coming from behind. But she showed some resilience, and not only resilience, but a lot of in-ring smarts, and she knows her way around the ring. She knows her way around a wrestling strategy, and I was just really impressed with how she handled everything leading up to that second fall. The stuff she did outside the ring, it was brutal. She sacrificed her body. I think she knew the price she was going to have to pay to get a leg up on Kamille, and she was willing to pay it. Unfortunately, even after all the near falls and us holding our breath, thinking, okay, this is going to go to a decisive third fall, it just wasn't in the cards, and Kamille just stepped up and became the dominant champion we've known her to be. But still a great match and a great showing from Kenzie Paige.
Yeah, I mean, the takeaway for me is that we have seen Kenzie Paige broken, bloodied, and beaten. You're talking about her laying everything on the line, including her body, her very soul, to reach the pinnacle. This is her second look at Kamille. We were there in Charlotte to see that first look, and what this tells me is that Kenzie Paige learned. She's a student of the sport. She's watched the tape. She's gleaning from her experience with Kamille in the ring. She's aware of what's in front of her. But at multiple points in this match, she had Kamille on her heels. Nevertheless, Kamille is unbeatable. She cannot lose, and she demonstrated that tonight. At least not right now. She can't lose right now. She is and has always been the thoroughbred of Strictly Business, and she's going to hold on to that championship for a long, long time.
Hard to disagree with that for sure. And if you are a fan of Kamille, by the way, and now would be a good time to mention to you that they do have shirts available at the National Wrestling Alliance. At nationalwrestlingalliance.com, but also visit the Pro Wrestling Tees stores at prowrestlingtees.com/NWA. And you can get sweet shirts like this. The Burke is Brick House, repping Kamille there. And also Trevor Murdoch has his own stash of merch there. Everybody's a tough guy until they meet one. So just be sure to check out prowrestlingtees.com for some awesome NWA merch there. There's a cool La Rebellion shirt there and some other stuff. You can get quality stuff from Powerrr, NWA 73, all of that over at prowrestlingtees.com. Okay, well, I brought up Murdoch there, and I guess this is a good time as any to move on here. Latimer and Adonis are out right after this Kamille matchup to celebrate with a birthday cake. It was, of course, on that day, Camille's birthday, and the crowd tries to sing happy birthday, but apparently they are not good enough. Tom Latimer was very unhappy with their vocals. Makes Kyle get down on his hands and knees, and he starts to sing happy birthday. And fortunately for him and us, he was interrupted by Nick Aldis entering the ring, as well as accompanied by Trevor Murdoch. And this tag match is underway. The world's heavyweight champion, Trevor Murdoch, and the dealer, Nick Aldis, take on Strictly Business. Now, we did find out in this matchup that apparently, if you were curious if Strictly Business was still Strictly Business, apparently Aldis tried to put a cease and desist on Strictly Business since he's coined the name, but Tom Latimer had already trademarked it. So unfortunately for Aldis, Strictly Business is still Strictly Business.
Tom Latimer has apparently learned the American way of business, and Nick Aldis for once is a little late to the doggone trough. Well done, Tom.
Well, it's a little suspect because, Rob, I just happen to know how well-versed you are in trademark and copyright law, so I wouldn't be surprised if you were involved in helping out with that decision. But it's just a name at this point. I think we all know that, Strictly Business was the brainchild of Nick Aldis, and when he was at the helm, it was a lot different than it is now. Doc will disagree with me, but it doesn't feel the same, and so they can keep the name, and I guess they will, and that's fine. But yeah, Strictly Business is doing business behind the scenes and in their lawyers' offices, apparently.
Well, in the middle of this matchup, Kamille decides to stay out at ringside. Strictly Business still operating as normal. And you would think, I guess, and it may be true that Aldis was a little prepared for what those tactics might end up being. Kamille early on interfering quite a bit and gets ejected almost right up at the top of the match. Like, she's just immediately thrown out by referee Robert King. And this match is, I don't know what else to say about it except just a really, really solid tag team wrestling match. Just a lot of fun. Now, it does get crazy towards the end. Things get a little bit wild, especially right around the point that Aldis catches Adonis coming off the top with, he pulls him into the Kingsland Cloverleaf. And Kamille makes her way back down and pulls Adonis's hand to the ropes. And I think, in front of God and everybody, including the referee, who somehow still let that slide, and the match continued. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out, Rob, just so in case you
you're doubting the referee. I mean, you doubting the referee. The referee obviously saw no harm, no foul in that maneuver. And I think what you've left out conveniently is that Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch interfered with Kamille's birthday celebration. So it's not that she's there interfering in the match per se. She's trying to exact some justice because they interrupted a moment that could have been a very special moment. All the whole fans were in there. Kyle Davis was doing a great job. Everybody was celebrating, and those two bozos had to interrupt that. So good for her. Good for you, Kamille. They had it coming.
Well, I will say this. One good turn does deserve another. And at a certain point, Aldis is standing in front of Adonis, turns around to a spear from Kamille, but gets out of the way just in time. And Kamille seems to be playing for both teams here. Goes ahead and spears Chris Adonis, who by the time he finally makes his way up to his feet is hit with a nice flying bulldog off the top rope by Trevor Murdoch for the 1, 2, 3. And Trevor Murdoch, the world's champion, and Nick Aldis win this big matchup against Latimer and Adonis. Strictly Business is 1 for 2, I guess, in this event this week. I don't know. I just
good math.
1 for 2.
1 for 2. 1 for 2.
Oh yeah, okay, now I understand. And the whole event, yeah, because
the whole event.
Okay,
see what I'm saying? Kamille won.
I was crunching the numbers.
I didn't carry the one.
I didn't carry it either. Well,
whatever. I guess the point here is that this match is over. Trevor did get a little bit of justice on Adonis after that loss. So he lost the national title to Chris Adonis originally, and he gets to exact some revenge here. He gets the pinfall over Chris Adonis, and I dare say that the feud between Tom Latimer and Nick Aldis is far from over.
Yeah, you don't solve that in one tag team match. I will speak to, there's a lot of, I won't call it controversy. I don't want to stir the pot or start anything, but, surrounding the fact that lead official Robert King decided not to disqualify Strictly Business when Kamille came out. Who knows what would have happened if she hadn't have helped Chris Adonis get to the ropes and he was in that Kingsland Cloverleaf. But at any rate, from my perspective, I think Robert King understood the stakes of this match. It's a big event by any means necessary. We're in Kentucky at Valor Hall. It's a huge night, and he understands. Listen, people don't want to see this match end in a disqualification. They want to see some kind of maybe not finality, because like you said, I don't think this by any means closes out this feud, but I think he understood, hey, that would be a terrible way to end this match on this night, and so he let it go. So I can respect that. There's a lot of people crying that that should have been a DQ, that the match should have been over right then, but I think Robert King knew what he was doing, and I think he was of sound mind when he made that decision. So
Yeah, I think you may be right, Will. That's a great point. Doc, any other thoughts about this particular matchup, the matchup itself?
No, I just don't like the insinuation that Robert King makes decisions on the basis of public opinion polls. I think that Robert King does and has always made decisions based on the rules of fairness and the gentleman's sport. And he looked at this and saw that the Kamille's involvement was completely incidental, was completely peripheral, and he ultimately made the right call for the right reasons, not because of public opinion polls.
Well, this was Will just assuming that might be part of it.
You know what they say about assuming.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's an uneducated guess that may or may not be right.
No reason to get angry.
That's what my mom always said.
That's just what my face looks like. I'm not angry. It's just what my face looks like.
Can confirm.
All right, so we got to wonder from here, I guess, before we head into the main event, what could be coming up next. We do know Hard Times 2 is right around the corner on December the 4th. I see people in the chat. I see you guys talking about it. I'm hearing in the wind that like 3, 4, 5, and 6 could be the dates. You might look for that in Hotlanta. No word officially yet, though, so just stay tuned. And once that ticket information is available, it should be released on the NWA socials and on the website, all of that stuff. So just stay tuned. And basically, from now, we know that Scion and Tyrus is a matchup. That's a TV title match that's going to be coming up. And at this point, you'd have to assume, unless she has another title shot somewhere, I know she does have like Maddie Rinkowski in early December or something like that. But Kamille, assuming she's going in with the NWA Women's Championship, she's going to be taking on Melina at Hard Times 2, it feels like. And then, like I said, I guess Nick Aldis, Tom Latimer, nothing officially announced, but I gotta think those two guys are on a collision course for a one-on-one matchup. You feel like they have to.
I don't think this can. Yeah, none of this will be resolved until these two guys go one-on-one. I don't know if it'll be a no DQ, falls count anywhere. I mean, these guys, the brutality that they're capable of is on par, if not more than what we saw with Crimson and Jax Dane, which we're about to get into. But you talk about brothers who have turned on each other. Like I said, you're not going to get any kind of resolution in a tag team match like this. We might see a series of one-on-one matches before any of this is even close to being resolved for those two.
Yeah, and there was a lot of stuff that happened after this event that took place with Trevor Murdoch. I'm not sure even what the champ status is as far as Hard Times 2. We'll get to that. I did. We managed to catch up with Kamille and Tom Latimer right after their matchup here, although it didn't go their way. We had a chance to talk to them and see what their thoughts were headed into next month. Interesting night for Strictly Business, Tom Latimer and Kamille. Just wanted to see if I could...
I don't have time for this, right? This is to you, Nick. This is to you tonight. You did exactly what you normally do, and that's ruin a good time, ruin her celebration, ruin her birthday. Yeah, we slipped on a banana peel. It happens.
It happens. It's okay, baby.
But mark my words, Nicky boy, your time will come. 2 weeks at home wasn't enough for you, was it? So how about we plan on you staying home forever?
Kamille, if I could just have a second. Big win over Kenzie Paige tonight.
What'd you expect?
And you've got Melina coming up, a legend in the business, and that's going to be a huge match for the Women's Championship. I just wanted to know if I could get your thoughts about that.
My thoughts is that, Melina, she's the living legend. But I am Kamille, and as I told you before, Gary, I am beatable. Now we got to go celebrate my birthday, so if you could, please. That's all the time.
Can't ruin this celebration, Nick. Oh no, we're going to be partying all night. Mark my words. Your days are numbered. Piss off, Gary.
If you're wondering, I did piss off.
Piss off, Gary. that's my new sign off. Piss off, Gary.
When Tom Latimer has that look in his eyes and he tells you to piss off, you piss off.
You just do it.
Yeah, so that's what I did. And but anyway, so some stern words from both people there in Strictly Business. Tom Latimer definitely promising that it is not over with Nick Aldis, and that if 2 weeks laid up wasn't enough, perhaps forever will suit him better. And Kamille definitely does not seem threatened at all by Melina. And that just, well, that's just her vibe, I guess. But Doc, I see you over there nodding along. What are your thoughts after seeing that?
No, I think again, Tom expressing exactly what I said earlier, that Nick Aldis knows how to ruin a celebration. This match was signed; it was scheduled. There's no need to go in and interrupt what could have been a very wonderful moment in NWA history, celebrating Kamille Brickhouse's birthday. But there's nothing sacred with Nick Aldis. It's all about Nick. It's all about him. It always has been. He's the one who gets the free watches, which to me is unbelievable. Tom Latimer needs a free watch too from somebody. And everything he said was right. No, Camille's not bewildered. She's not she's not perplexed about Melina. She's the brick house. She's unbeatable. And we'll see that. Time will show and prove that out. But yeah, I mean, I do want to point out that before this match, there was a few moments there where Trevor Murdoch and Nick Aldis were speaking with Kyle Davis. It was either Kyle or Joe Gale. I can't remember who it was, but Nick Aldis made the point that Tom had latched his, he had placed his fortunes, and his path was co-linked with the thoroughbred of Strictly Business, which was Nick Aldis. And I just have to take issue with that, because I think what we're now seeing is that Tom Latimer has hitched his lot with the true thoroughbred of Strictly Business, which is Kamille. She is and has always been the true thoroughbred. She's still the world's champion, which is something that Nick is not. And Will, you made the point earlier that things just seem different. Yeah, they seem different because now they've trimmed the fat. And now Strictly Business is focused on winning, which is what they should always have been strictly focused on.
All right. Well said, Doc. The final matchup of the evening was a steel cage match between Jax Dane and Crimson. Been looking forward to this one, fellas. First steel cage match in the Lightning One era since President William Patrick Corgan, has taken over the National Wrestling Alliance. There hasn't been a steel cage match, so it was exciting in that aspect, and just exciting because steel cage matches are exciting. And these two guys are ready to just brutalize each other, and that is exactly what they did tonight. Jax Dane trying to get the jump on Crimson at the top of the match, just waiting at the bottom of the ramp. And Crimson, I guess this shows just how much these two know each other. Crimson coming out from the other side of the venue and jumping the rail and attacking Jax Dane. Nasty suplex there on the ramp. I thought it could have been over right then and there, but no, these two guys are too tough for that. They get up and fight around the ring a couple of times before they finally end up in the ring. But in that time, Jax was able to throw a chair into the middle of the ring. And, well, we'll find out that he brought all sorts of other things as well. And there they go. Just a back and forth match, exactly as brutal as you would have expected. Crimson living up to his name, getting the proverbial Crimson mask. And these two guys just took each other to the limit. Good old-fashioned hate is what you would call this. And no escape here. Pinfall or submission. This is the NWA. You don't climb out over the top. You beat the hell out of each other until somebody's left standing. And then finally, Jax with the powder, throwing it in Crimson's face, blinding him a little bit. Not enough for the pinfall. Then Jax breaks out the alcohol, which, I'm sorry, that just made me cringe. Like just seeing Jax throw the rubbing alcohol in Crimson's face. Not only because it's in your eyes, but his head is cut open and bloodied, and it's just stings, like when I get a cut on my finger. That's bad enough.
Man, you should have seen Gary cringing. Gary was like, oh man, that's good alcohol right there he wasted. I seen Gary resort to some things, man. I've learned not to bring what's that, the mouthwash. I don't bring mouthwash anymore on the trips because mine ends up missing.
based on how well he remembered what it's called, you can tell how often Rob uses mouthwash. So enjoy that part of being around him if you meet him in Atlanta.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, Jax
What's
does
it called,
end up-
Gary? What's it called? You know what it's called?
Mouthwash,
Yeah, what's it called?
like Listerine, Scope.
Boom, that's it.
anything.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Which one? He said two.
Both of them. I bring them both. They're both gone.
You don't mix them though.
Anyway, so Jax Dane with the victory, unfortunately for Crimson, and big win from Jax. And before I throw to you guys, just to get your thoughts, we did get a chance to talk to Jax as well right after the matchup. You think Tom's scary? This was also scary, but you're welcome. We were there. Here it is. Jax Dane, big victory tonight in the cage with Crimson. Just wanted to get your thoughts.
One step closer to Trevor Murdoch. That's my thoughts. One step closer to Trevor Murdoch. My time, my place. When I want to, I can cash in. I know you're not running, Trevor, but you're smart enough to know I'm next in line. Your ass is mine. Your ass is mine.
I like that. I like that.
That was the end of that interview. I was immediately shoved out of the way, and Jax Dane left, and that thus signaling the end of that conversation. So, but Jax Dane making his intentions clear there that he has a title shot in his back pocket. He's ready to use it. He's putting Crimson in the past and has a sight set on that World's Heavyweight Championship. But Will, I'll throw to you first. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, this was his big hurdle, so to speak, to get there. I mean, obviously my thoughts are still with Crimson. I mean, that was a brutal match, and despite everything that he went through, he lasted as long as he could. I think the alcohol to the face when you're cut open like that, that's just too much to overcome. Even though Austin Idol said he was just trying to sanitize it, he was trying to clean the wound. Nobody was buying that, but it was a brutal match. It was exactly what we expected. And you could see, in Jax Dane when we talked to him after the match, I mean, he feels like there is a weight off his shoulders now, that he can move on and focus on that title shot. That's been something that he was trying to focus on. And this feud with Crimson, his former brother and all this stuff has kind of been in the way. And what better way to resolve that than in a steel cage? But, I got to wonder what's next for Crimson. We didn't get a chance to catch up with him. Obviously, he was, indisposed after that match and being taken care of, and nobody really talked to him. So I hope he's doing well. But can't help but wonder what frame of mind he's in, what's next for him. It's clear what's next for Jax. But man, just a hell of a main event. I mean, the first steel cage, as we've mentioned, of the Lightning One era in the NWA, and it lived up to the hype. It really did. I mean, it was brutal. It was a great main event, and these two guys, they left it all out there. So, props to Jax Dane. May not have been the result that everyone was hoping for, but we got the match that we were hoping for.
Bodie in the chat saying that Jax is the dude you just buy a beer for and hope he's cool with you. And that may be exactly how to approach this. Although, Doc, I don't think a beer is going to save Trevor Murdoch or, to put it in Jack's terms, his ass from that matchup for the World's Heavyweight Championship.
No, you're right. First of all, hats off to both of these competitors. I've got nothing ill to say about Crimson. He's a father. He's a veteran of the 101st Airborne Division. I'm a veteran of the 10th Mountain Division and the 172nd Separate Infantry Division. He's, they laid it on the line. But what I like about Jax Dane is his laser focus. This is something we don't see from Nick Aldis right now. We don't see this from Trevor Murdoch right now. Trevor Murdoch is all doing this and that, not worried about the World's Heavyweight Championship. What did Jax Dane say coming out of this brutal match? As far as he's concerned, he's proved his point. And where is his focus at? Where it should be, reclaiming that 10 pounds of gold. I like it. I like the message, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think Trevor Murdoch lasts another 3 months with that championship.
Well, it's an interesting thought. I mean, Jax has been gunning for Trevor since early on. Jax already was going to cash in one time before and was stopped by Crimson. So it's interesting to see. That's a scary man to be walking around with a title shot just anytime, anywhere.
I'm going to tell you, if Trevor Murdoch doesn't fall to Jax Dane, he's going to fall to Attila Khan. I'm going to tell you right now, Certified Hustler out there been putting that word out. And we know if he's saying it, we know it's got to be so. Right, Gary?
That's right. Yeah. Before By Any Means, or I'm sorry, By Any Means History, before Hard Times 2, Bush Beer hitting good. We've got
Bush.
Attila Khan
Oh.
has. There he is. Look at that. You want to talk about bloody? Attila Khan will get bloody. He's been in the ring with the best of the best. He does not play around. And at SICW on December the 1st, Attila Khan gets a World's Heavyweight Championship shot against the champion Trevor Murdoch. So that's going to be a big deal. You want to talk about a hoss fight? That's a hoss fight right there, boys. Those two going head to head. That I don't know if that SICW venue's ready for that one.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, you gotta. We don't have time here to go into the details and the intricacies of that. I'm just gonna say, hit up Certified Hustler. He will tell you all you need to know about it. He's in the loop. He's working around in that St. Louis circuit, and that's the man you got to talk to. This is going to be big time, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if I were a betting man, which I'm not saying I'm not, but I'm not saying I am. I'm especially not saying I'm not. But if I were, I gotta tell you, we might be walking into hard times, and we don't know what the championship title picture is going to look like. That who's going to be signed to defend that 10 pounds of gold. But if you're talking to me, if you're talking to Certified Hustler, if you're talking to some of these guys, I would not be shocked if you see Attila Khan walking into that venue, GPB Studios, back in NWA home base, Atlanta, Georgia, with the 10 pounds of gold. We'll see what happens.
Well, Rob, I will give you props and definitely agree with you on your point you made earlier about the laser focus. Things have been hopping in the NWA. There's been a lot of really interesting things going on. And, it does seem like there are a couple of people that are super laser focused. Now we see Jax Dane, who's laser focused. We see Scion, who is definitely laser focused on Tyrus. And so to me, in my book, those are the two guys you got to watch out for right now, because with all the stuff going on, all the different challengers, all the different matches, the titles, things like that, those are two guys that stick out to me as laser focused on winning gold, one for the television title and one for the 10 pounds of gold. And that's what you got to watch out for. And so I think as we head into hard times 2, keep an eye on those two guys. I add Jax Dane to that list now after tonight, because he was definitely preoccupied with Crimson, but seemed like he got over that pretty quickly based on our interaction with him just literally moments after he stepped out of the cage. So
there you go. Well, I want to give a shout out to the big Texan in the chat too, out of SICW. I know he roams around in those parts, and Certified Hustler. In fact, that covers By Any Means Necessary Part 2. So why don't we throw it to the chat here for a few minutes and just see what's on you guys' mind when we do Falls Count Anywhere. All right, so we're going to jump into the chat. I'm going to scroll up just a little bit and just start up here with Roy DeCap said, great steel cage match. I love seeing blood in a cage match for once. There you go. I mean, that's because that's real stuff right there. Jax Dane and Crimson weren't going into that cage match to not bust each other up. They were ready. That felt like it was a given. Somebody's coming out of there bleeding. And like Roy Caps goes on to say, that cage match felt very old school NWA. So very cool. Polka Dot Pam, good to see you. It's her first time seeing a steel cage match. So fun. So very, very cool. That's awesome, Pam. And Bodie there, excited about Trevor and Jax. Front row saying Jax Dane is a monster. Thank you, Caps, for saying I've got guts being that close to Jax. I feel like that too. And Fee is excited about the possibility of Trevor versus Jax. It's good to see you have a positive attitude there, Fee. I know Crimson's your boy, and you were hoping for a different outcome there. So, I know it's tough to accept that. Let's see.
I saw a comment in here just to touch on it, talking about Jax Dane from Eric Dale, who was pointing out, I don't know if we mentioned this or not, but Jax Dane was a world champion pre-Lightning 1 in the NWA, and seems like he's got an axe to grind. Maybe because of that, he hasn't gotten the recognition that he probably feels he deserves right now, and so this title shot is, I wouldn't say a chance at redemption. I don't think he ever went anywhere, but to earn the respect that he probably thinks he deserves for being a past champion. So that's something to be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you said that in front of him, Will, he would correct you immediately to say former U.S. heavyweight champion, former national heavyweight champion, former world's heavyweight champion. He would make sure that you covered all those bases. Seems to be a trend of his.
Yeah.
Yeah, and why not? He earned it.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair enough.
Let's see. I see a lot of talk about St. Louis and the studio and all of that. Guys, I think Atlanta, I saw the debate going on earlier. I think Atlanta is home for the NWA, at least for NWA Powerrr. I think Atlanta's not going anywhere. There's some moving around happening, but that's just as it should be. I expect to see a lot more of these super shows pop up in different cities and tapings from other cities, even from St. Louis, but who knows where else the NWA ends up. But I think at the end of the day, they'll always come back to Atlanta as well. So
yeah. I mean, when you're dealing with a promotion, a meta promotion like the NWA, there have been, eons in the history of this great promotion that have been home base. You got to think the NWA was founded in Iowa. Sam Muchnick was so important in those first really half century of the NWA, and St. Louis at that point could really have been called home. But I think, in the 80s and onward, especially in the modern era, we got to admit that Atlanta is home base, but that's not to say that places like Houston and, Greensboro and Charlotte and St. Louis aren't very important, even essential to the history of this great company. But yes, Atlanta is home base.
It'll be interesting to see the future of the NWA, where they end up. I'm excited. And I know that with the success of By Any Means Necessary, they're definitely excited about trying out new stuff, especially I just loved the different feel, just the switch up in the middle of the season here, going from the normal NWA Powerrr from the Chase, which is cool enough. And then you get this really cool vibe from Valor Hall. It's also kind of nice every once in a while, just maybe even outside of the pay-per-view, you get the entrances with the music and that sort of thing. It was just a whole different vibe. Keeps it fresh, I think. All right. And thanks, Fee, for being here. It's 1:15 over in Scotland, so she's got to go to sleep. Thanks for hanging out. I'm not sure what that noise is. Sounds like Doc is vacuuming.
No, that's not me, bro. That's not me.
It's me.
Oh, let's see here. Bodie,
Natalia is vacuuming.
No, I got a fan going. It gets hot here in the purple studio.
So is that what it is?
I got a fan going. I'll move it. I'll turn it off. I'll sweat for you guys.
Oh man. Let's see. Royden wants to see him come back to Akron, Ohio. I mean, I'm sure that's all a possibility. And I know that, St. Louis has all the history. I see Certified talking about the history in St. Louis. St. Louis does have all that history. Like Doc said, I mean, Houston has a lot of history with the NWA as well. And so not taken away from any of those, but I mean, this era of the NWA, it started in Atlanta. NWA Powerrr was there. That's what it feels like, I guess. I guess you can even argue Nashville or somewhere like that too. Considering NWA 70 and that sort of thing. But it feels like the real, where it really kicked into gear with NWA Powerrr was GPB Studios.
Right. And a throwback to the Turner Studios of the 80s with Jim Crockett Promotions when I guess the NWA was at its peak. I would argue that we're pretty much approaching that again, or at least on a trajectory to at least realize that same sort of importance. When you see Pro Wrestling Illustrated writing articles on the reemergence of the NWA as a major player, you have to acknowledge that. But from 83, 84 on, Atlanta's been home base, and this is not to besmirch or belittle any other city or entity or town or promotion or territory that's been a part of this great organization, because they're all important. And I would say that probably when you look down history, even though Atlanta has emerged as home base now, the one indispensable player in the history of this company has to be Sam Muchnick. And so, that St. Louis's own Sam Muchnick. So this is no slight on them at all. And that great fan base that we saw turn out for Wrestling at the Chase, we know that we're going to be doing that again and again and again. And that that's the beauty of having a meta promotion. That's the beauty of having a truly touring company that wants to make leave its footprint across the country and across the world. So, we'll see the NWO, I'm sure, again, make its statement in Japan, China, Australia, Canada, the UK. The NWA is going worldwide, baby. And it's going to be in St. Louis. It's going to be in Atlanta. It's going to be in Houston. It's going to be everywhere. Maybe even Greenville.
Maybe. That'd be awesome.
There's history there too, baby.
Only Gary would ever besmirch the people of St. Louis.
Listen, man, it's not the people of St. Louis.
Oh, sorry.
I've ever heard.
Sorry.
A certain group
persons
that happened to be in St. Louis.
Piss off, Gary.
I happen to be a fan of the people of St. Louis.
Okay.
Not all of them. There were a couple.
Clearly, there was a few.
There was a group. A whole group. They're called the St. Louis crew or something like that.
With a K.
St. Louis. That can't be right. That feels like something Certified Hustler would have started.
Oh, well.
I don't know why we all paused like we were waiting to hear.
You got heat with Certified? Come on.
No,
you got heat with Certified. I got to hear about this.
Be smart.
This is what to get certified. Why
you don't want to
certified?
Hey, you don't want to upset that dude. I'm gonna tell you right now.
What did I say that was anti-certified?
You got power players and then you got Certified Hustler. You do not want to upset that man.
You're right. I'm sorry, Dodd. I ain't tried to besmirch the name of the hustler.
Oh, besmirch. That's the word.
Oh man, we love you guys. Thanks for everybody being in here tonight. Certified, of course, the Big Texan, front row, as always, Patrick Griffiths. Last two episodes have been tremendous. Great action, surprises, and an awesome crowd. Only complaint is Velvet Sky and Austin Idol talking over each other on commentary. Really annoying. Then right below that with Bodie, I can't get enough of Idol on the mic. So
I can't get enough of them. Yeah, I disagree. I love listening to the banner between Velvet with her just frustrations and Austin Idol with his spot-on analytics every time. Did you mention that Noni McPony was in the chat tonight?
I hadn't got there, but I would have. She was probably next on my list, but you just, you jumped in. So,
well, go ahead and say her name.
Yeah, go say it.
Noni McPony in the chat. Thanks for being here. It's good to see you. I would have said that had you let me finish, but you just interrupted and stuff. So anyway, Noni, I just said you're one of my top ones. So I usually head right to you. I don't know why Patrick Griffith's thinking Doc there, but whatever. And thanks, John Dodd, for being in there.
I know, and I got you. I see you.
Dodie was in the house tonight. We had everybody, man. Just everybody out there. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank yourself.
Thank you, Noni. We do appreciate you guys for real. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and taking advantage of this opportunity given to us by the National Wrestling Alliance for us to get to hang out and talk about this episode of NWA Powerrr. We will be back here next Tuesday. I don't know if it's time for a power surge or what. I guess we'll find out in the coming days, but I think it's probably about time for that. But we'll find out, and we'll be with you either way so we can talk about all this stuff. Maybe we'll know a little bit more about Hard Times 2 and ticket info and all of that kind of stuff. I'm excited. I'm excited for the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm excited to head back to GPV and see what goes down on the next season of NWA Powerrr, but there's that noise.
Did you do that on purpose?
That's for you, Todd Davis and Justin Bishop.
Oh, it's an inside joke that I don't know about.
It's a reference to my other podcast, Cinema Shock.
Those guys as they would say in Cinema Shock, that's a nod, and that was fun.
Oh my God.
You don't listen to any of my other podcasts, Rob, but that's fine.
Man, the
I feel like I'm
SEO
saying-
stuff is exhilarating. It's exhilarating.
Oh no.
All
I'm
right.
sorry. Whoever this Nani chick was, she has left the building. So Noni McPony. Thank you. I think that's right. Everybody, yes, I'll piss off now. So thank you guys for being here. And we'll see you next time. Until then, you guys enjoy your gravy cake.